You are listening to the Redbay Chronicles podcast with me, your host, Sergeant Redbay. Today is episode 4. We're going to be talking about a few things, but the main theme, the bulk of episode 4 today, is going to be talking about the short form TikTok brain rot that's plagued our society. We're going to be diving into that here in just a minute, but I'm going to talk about two things first. Here in a moment, we'll talk about the World Series of Warzone. That is a Call of Duty $1 million tournament that I actually competed in over this last weekend. I'm going to tell you a bit about that, which is pretty cool, right? But first and foremost, I'm going to update you on me, what's going on in my life, and some changes that are going to be happening here on the channel. I wasn't sure if I was going to discuss this at all on the podcast, let alone at all on the channels, but I am going to be releasing an update video, just a short video on YouTube, likely tomorrow at the time of this recording, at the time of this upload. So check the YouTube for the full details if you want further. But essentially, there's some changes that are going to be going on. The whole reason I decided to discuss this is because it does affect you, the community here in the viewer base. So that's why I need to have an open line of communication. And essentially what that is, I'm going to be moving. Okay, so you're not going to be seeing much more of this stream area, this recording studio, the Redbay headquarters, whatever you want to call it. We've got some changes coming in. I think they are positive changes. For starters, we're going to be gaming less. I'm probably going to be selling most of my gaming equipment and recording equipment and selling my house. And to be completely honest, a lot of this is not by choice. I'm going to dive into this a little bit more again in the YouTube video, so please check that out. But I've had a lot of unexpected medical expenses last year. Don't worry too much. I'm not dying, nothing like that. I'm just prioritizing my health, physical health, mental health, all of the above, which everybody should be doing. And as a result of that, it's been quite honestly a financial strain, a significant one. And so with that in mind, that's why we're having some changes. So I'm going to be downsizing my living quarters where I'm at now, and not entirely sure where I'm long-term going to be moving. I've thought about staying locally here in the Midwest where I'm from. I've really been looking at some land up in nature, Texas, Montana, Maine. I mean, who knows, right? So long term, I don't have an answer for you. And then also, that comes back to the Redbay channels, why I'm sharing this in the first place. What does that mean for us? Well, where I'm likely going to be moving for the short term at least doesn't have high speed internet. So the whole multi-streaming and gaming, I'm not going to have reliable internet. There may be a pause with the streams, with the content, with the gaming. And that's okay. Okay, I'm not saying goodbye to all of that. I'm not saying I'm never going to game or stream because I love it. But we may... So this isn't goodbye with gaming and all of that, but more of a hurdle, something we have to overcome, right? So there's that. Keep that in mind. But it's almost kind of a good thing. We'll dive into the gaming in a second with the tournament we're talking about. But with that, to afford medical expenses, I've got a high-end gaming computer. We're going to be shifting focus a little bit. I'm still going to be gaming, but we don't need this multi-$1,000 computer. We need to be affording these medical bills. So we're going to be selling the computer, probably some of the other gaming gear, streaming gear, stuff we don't need, and then the house, of course. So it's almost come as a blessing in the sense of I can focus on my health, and obviously I need to maintain housing and not be homeless, of course. So we're shifting gears there. But a blessing in the sense of I don't want to game full time. We've talked about this here on the podcast. I want to branch out and do more content like this podcast, like this type of content. I want to be able to travel in the future and film and bring you on the adventures and start building the Redbay Foundation and construction and all of that fun stuff. If you don't know anything about the Redbay Foundation, listen to last week's episode 3 of the podcast, Building the Redbay Foundation, right? So things are kind of a blessing in that sense where I'm not going anywhere. We're just kind of shifting gears, and you're not going to see daily consistent gaming streams, which I don't want to be doing in the first place, right? I would love to do nothing but game, but there's a lot of other stuff at the same time that I want to explore and would be leaving my own potential on the table if I don't. So all that said, expect changes. Please check YouTube for some more details and how you can continue to get involved and support the mission here if that's something you're so interested in. All right, that was a big one. Sum that up in 5 minutes there. Before we dive into the meat and bones of episode 4 here on the podcast, The other thing I wanted to talk about, the World Series of Warzone. Now, this is a crazy experience. I'm more of a casual gamer. I'm more of a content creator. Fun vibes, community, entertainment, energy, the music, the stream, and I love it. But in the world of gaming, especially Call of Duty, there is an esports realm, the competitive quadrant of gaming. And when it comes to that, the World Series of Warzone is Call of Duty's premier event of the year. It is a $1 million tournament where the best of the best competes and go through like a better terms. Think of like football, the NFL, and the playoffs as you work for the Super Bowl. It's basically that, but for Call of Duty Warzone, which is pretty sweet, right? And so I competed in the open qualifiers. Now, a couple thousand teams registered for this. Bear in mind, there are tens, hundreds of thousands of Call of Duty players. I mean, I don't even know how many. The beyond comprehension, right? One of the biggest franchises ever, right? A couple thousand teams from North America registered this last weekend for the tournament. And how it worked, there were 3 days. Sign up, play the World Series Warzone game, and you can play this game as much or little within Friday, Saturday, and Sunday of the qualifying time windows, which was like 6 hours a day. And your best 10 games, to put simply, would be factored in for your overall score, and the top 100 teams would move on to the next round of the playoffs if you're tracking. So again, I'm not a pro gamer. I'm not a super competitive gamer. I love being competitive in gaming and doing my best, but I do other stuff with my life as well, right? And I'm not, please don't take this the wrong way. I am in no shape way from knocking competitive gaming. The esports world in competitive gaming is full of insane stuff, awesome energy and production quality and events and people. And I have not much bad to say about it, but I will dive into that. Needless to say, did my best over the weekend, had some tough moments, had some pretty sweet moments, completely killing professional teams single-handedly. I'll pat myself on the back a little bit. Come on now. Did not qualify in the top 100 though. Did not. However, with all that in mind, as the standings sit at the time of this recording, the day after qualifiers, placed 185th. So about 85 teams away from the top 100 with thousands of people playing this tournament. Dude, I had a blast. It was tough. I mean, this isn't just you're playing against casual players or people that kind of care. This is the world's best, people that do nothing but this game. So it was competitive, to say the least. It was the best of the best. You know, some people better than others, of course, but they were in there and we definitely ran into them. So much love to everybody revolving around that. The interesting thing, I'll end on this regarding World Series of Warzone. Actually, 2 things. The best part about this is the finals, the grand finals. It is 50 of the best teams in Warzone as they go through the qualifiers. The top level teams, when they reach the finals, will be held at a LAN event. That's a in-person tournament, in-person event with the stage, with the lights, with the crowd, with the energy, the real deal. And they'll battle it out to see who's the champion. Again, at the time of this recording, it is not announced to where that will be held this year. Last year was held in Vegas, which I wanted to go to and plan to, but I was out of town. I wasn't able to make it there in time. And the rumor, I've heard rumor online it'll be held in London this year, which would be sweet. However, I would like it to be local in the States because I want to go, and it would be a lot easier if it was local to me, of course, at least within a drive or a cheap flight. So that would be ideal, right? Anywho, that was my weekend with the World Series of Warzone. Pretty proud of myself. I'll say that. Pretty proud of myself. Unfortunately, again, did not qualify for the next round, but you do what you can. You do what you can, right? With that in mind, the last thing I wanted to say about Call of Duty and gaming and the World Series. I mean, there's a huge hacker problem with Call of Duty. Go watch recent videos from Z-Laner, Iceman Isaac. They both have great videos. I'm sure there's a dime a dozen more, but those guys are some of the best in the industry with this type of stuff. Kind of diving into these blatant hackers. I mean, they're advertising how well they did with hacks in the official Call of Duty Discord servers. Like, it's just bad. And we ran into plenty of hackers, blatant hackers. It's not even an argument. So there's just some polarization with that and with the tournament and with Call of Duty. It's been a problem for a long time. It is what it is, right? It is what it is. But the last thing I really wanted to dive into is kind of about that gaming community and what I want to be a part of. What I want to help build with the Redbay Foundation is a community of like-mindedness, of positivity, as it relates to gaming as well. That will be an element in the Redbay Foundation as well. But what I'm getting at here is the world of gaming, the online community. I don't know if it's specifically Call of Duty. I mean, it's not, but it's definitely heavily Call of Duty, of course. There's a lot of ego, and there's a lot of selfishness, and there's a lot of I don't care about anybody else with competitors, with people on social media, like Twitter on the timeline, with the live streamers. And I say that, let's give you an example. Recently, I've been uploading gaming shorts, as I have been for quite some time, but I've also been uploading shorts from, example, this podcast. And in my comments, you know, the TikTok or YouTube or wherever it's at, I have two types of comments. I have over here, the people mocking me, making fun of me, making fun of my appearance, of my gameplay, of my voice, of anything you can think of. And then there's other comments that are on the complete opposite side of the spectrum over here, where it's comments of value, of discussion, of encouragement, of motivation, something of value, sustenance, right? And these polarized comments, I will tell you this. One type of these comments is found on one type of content I make, and the other type of comments are found on the other type of content I make. The gaming versus the podcast and discussion content like this, the real life content. And I'm sure you can imagine which one is correlated with which one, right? If you want me to spell it out, the gaming content is full of the occasional cool comment or valued comment, but the overwhelming, just first time commenters on my channel don't know who I am. They're just the keyboard warriors, bashing, belittling, screw you, man, you know, mock this guy. And that's just the gaming community. That's what I've learned. I've been doing this for a couple years now. And unfortunately, I mean, I see it all over the Twitter, not just my content. Please don't think it's just me, but it's all over. I mean, people make videos on this, man. Go scroll any comments. Just people accusing you of anything and of hacking, of being, you know, just mocking you. And I'm not about that, man. And that's another reason why I'm grateful to be shifting away from the full-time gaming content. Again, we're going to be still pushing regular gaming content. Maybe not so much if I don't have reliable fiber internet with the live streaming and everything, but I love gaming. So instead of being a part of the masses of that negativity and that energy, we can have a community in the gaming world where that's not the norm. And if you're coming in here with that energy, you're just going to be removed, because we're just not going to do that. Life is too short. You know, life is too short. But again, that's a whole reason why I'm grateful to be pushing other content. Like this podcast, for example. I'm still going to try weekly with this podcast to have this uploaded every Tuesday on YouTube and Spotify. Hashtag shameless plug there, right? So cool. That's the plan there. To kind of tie all that together, that's what I'm getting at with this World Series of Warzone tournament. I saw competitors that were just selfish and egotistic, that only cared about themselves and their success and not their team success or their team's efforts. I saw competitors that only cared to tweet at the pro players of maybe a clip they got, you know, just ego, man, ego. And I get it's a competition, but it's just the norm, that overwhelming energy of, hey, look at me, I'm better than you. Hey, it's about me, man. That's just not it, man. If that's you, go be your best. I really wish you your best. But this weekend with the World Series of Warzone tournament was just riddled with that, man. Just like any other gaming event or stream. Not all of them. Not all creators are like that. Not all pros are like that. And I continue to follow those that aren't, that are setting a better example. But the point is, this weekend just kind of solidified and verified that even more for me. With that in mind, we just use that as fuel to be our best, to remember how we can continue to adjust our message and mission and projection in this gaming community of how can we be less of what we don't like and how can we be more of what this community and world needs. So we're going to take that in a positive light, a positive message. All right. So again, World Series of Warzone, absolute big thumbs up from Mr. Sergeant Redbay here. I had a blast. I know the people that I discussed this with, some other competitors, teammates, really enjoyed it too. You know, take the hacking and ego out of it, and it was pretty sweet, man. How cool is that, right? To be running these tournaments with some of the best and having a good time, man. Really did. Really challenging, but if it was easy, everybody would do it, right? So that's what I have with you on gaming right now. And that's what I had for you a bit on me and my life, an update, you know, recent events. And on that, I'm not against a regular update here on the podcast, you know, weekly update. Maybe we start with that every podcast. What's new in Redbay's life, right? What's new? What have we been working on? You know, what's been happening, right? So maybe we're going to be starting our podcast with that. And I'm cool for it. Another big focus we're going to be pushing is fitness. Let's talk about that next episode next week. But I'm just hitting the gym heavy, man. We're sleeping well. We're hitting the gym and we're hydrating. We're fueling. That's what you got to do. To summarize that, again, check the YouTube here tomorrow if you're listening to this on the day of upload for a quick update video. Just for some transparency. I owe that to the community because the community is something I care about. I'm basically going to take the last 15 minutes of this discussion and just put it into 2 minutes, basically say, hey, I owe you guys some communication. I'm not going to be streaming on a regular basis. Here's why. No, I'm not leaving. No, it's not goodbye. This is a hurdle I'm going through, prioritizing my health. I have to take care of some medical expenses, so I'm going to be selling my house, going to be selling some gaming equipment, and moving on to the next chapter. So support me on the journey by being here on the channel, being in the Discord, and stay tuned for updates. Check out the podcast every week. I can start, and that'll basically be it. And that'll be basically it for the update video. I can still do this podcast easy, right? I don't need fiber internet. I don't need to be streaming these podcast recordings. Okay. I just need to hook up this camera. Even if I'm not here, it doesn't need to be here in the studio here. We're good to go. And a lot of podcasts are cool like that. Heck, I'll go set this set up with the microphone and camera up on the beach. We'll go record this on a midday on a Wednesday when nobody, I'm not disturbing anybody's outdoor leisure activities. Right? You can do it anywhere. Go out in the lake, go on the boat. It doesn't matter. Figure out something. So this podcast will be a great way for us to maintain some good content and branch out into the content again where we want to go. All right. I think that's kind of my intro. I think that's a long intro, but I think it was a good one. I really like that idea though. Let's start off these podcasts talking about where I'm at, what's new, the recent Redbay adventures. Okay. Oh, I guess that brings up a good point. Jump scare alert. Our YouTube channel is changing a bit. I know I've said that, but here's what I mean. The main YouTube channel is Sergeant Redbay. All right, that's where you're watching this podcast right now, or maybe you're on Spotify. Well, either way, it's cool. If you're not, come over to Spotify and drop a follow on that. But anywho, the main YouTube channel is not going to be for gaming anymore. Okay, we're gonna trickle gaming stuff as it continues to grow. Right now, there's still gaming shorts, and we're gonna have some streams still while we're here, and that's all good. But the main channel on YouTube is going to be really at heart what I want it to be. I think I've talked about this before already in the podcast, but let's summarize. It's going to be the Redbay life, the adventures, the travels, the foundation construction, the podcasts, all of that on the main YouTube channel. We now have a second YouTube channel. We're just going to trickle content onto it. The Sergeant Redbay gaming channel. That link should be down below. If it's not, it is linked on the main YouTube homepage. Just go to Sergeant Redbay on YouTube. It'll be the first thing that pops up. It'll say second channel, Sergeant Redbay Gaming. It's just youtube.com/@SergeantRedbayGaming. All of the gaming content from the main YouTube channel is going to shift over to the gaming channel. So please drop a follow over there. All the gaming shorts, gaming streams, like the vertical streams, and everything gaming is going to be over there. Not just Warzone, we'll be branching out as well, especially GTA 6 when that drops next year, and some other stuff I've got planned in the back pocket. Here's why. And this ties into the topic of discussion we're about to dive into. The TikTok brain rot. The short form content, that mindset, okay? For a while on the main YouTube channel, I've been streaming gaming, and I've been streaming it via the YouTube Shorts live stream feed, okay? The vertical format, like when you're scrolling your phone and you can scroll live streams on YouTube. And it's been great. It's been great, sure. It's given us a lot of visibility. We've gained a lot of subscribers from it, people interested in the channel. And positively, it's actually gained us a good handful of people that watched me to this day. They ended up connecting with the stream, and they're here for the long haul, right? And it's probably some of you watching right now. That's how you found my platform. And I love that. However, there's a couple issues with that. The first one being, that's the 1%. The other 99% of those short form live stream viewers on YouTube are just scrolling, watching for maybe 30 seconds scroll. Maybe if they sub, that's the only time they care to see me, is they're just scrolling. Oh, look, there's Redbay. And they watch for a little bit, maybe say hi, scroll. And they just want that quick hit of dopamine of that Warzone game or whatever it may be. And that's an issue for me. That's an issue for me of what I want to be building. Okay. What do I mean by that? Well, again, what did I just say the main channel is going to be for? It's going to be for the life of Redbay, the mission of the Redbay Foundation, connecting with others, traveling, filming, and the purpose of those long form films, if you will, that will be on that channel, is to connect with you, with others, to build a community, to invoke emotion in the human spirit. And if on the main channel, we're also streaming in that vertical gaming live stream, there may be success there in its own form, but that success is not helping the purpose of that channel. Not really. It's a whole different algorithm. It's a whole different audience. It's not the energy I want to be encouraging. I want to invoke that emotion in the storytelling in films. I don't want to encourage what we'll dive into here in a minute, that short term thinking, brain rot, attention span, anxiety ridden mindset, which has plagued our entire society. So short form content has its purpose. We're going to have shorts on the main channel, but it's going to be more so of shorts from podcasts like this, and maybe a cool moment that happened in a camping trip in a long form video. Maybe we'll make a short out of it and throw it on there. People, I scroll shorts sometimes, check it out, scroll, check it out, be like, oh yeah, that was a cool thing Redbay did, people will be in touch with that. It's good for exposure, for new eyes to be on your channel. But we're going to take those gaming live streams over to the gaming channel. Okay, those vertical formatted streams to the gaming channel. Let me clarify. For now, that's the plan. So check out both those YouTube channels. When it comes to streaming as a whole, YouTube's awesome. We're always going to have our YouTube channel. And kick.com, the green platform, has been a blessing to me, actually. We've connected with a lot of people there. We're verified over there with a nice official check mark. That's cool. And if we can grow that a bit more, we'll be partnered and can be paid by Kick to continue to stream. Again, none of that is leaving, but we do have some hurdles if I can't stream full time without reliable fiber internet or whatever it may be. And that's okay. We're going to jump over that hurdle and continue to work that problem. So we'll keep growing all of that. We have the gaming channel now with YouTube. And I mean, we have a Twitch channel as well. I've had minimal success there, but that's because I've been pushing the Kick so heavily, and of course the YouTube. And that's awesome, man. That's awesome. Other than the streams and the YouTube videos, I'm pretty active on X or Twitter, posting updates and stuff like that. And so we'll keep growing that platform too. All right. Now, if you're asking yourself, why am I talking about all my platforms and gaming and where all this is going and the shorts and blah, blah, blah? Well, let's dive into it. I think we're ready. I know last podcast I talked a bit about, or a couple podcasts ago, the dopamine, and I read off a lot of facts and statistics. I do not want the podcast to turn into that. I want this podcast to be me talking authentically. I don't want to script anything. I don't want to read something typed out, because it's just going to turn into something that sounds like you're reading from a textbook, or an article or something. And I just want this to be authentic, like what the last half hour has been of you listening to this podcast. And so that's what it's going to be. What I have done, and the most I'll do, is I've listed 5 bullet points of things to discuss about here with the TikTok brain rot. But I'm not going to be reading pages. I'm not going to be reading just facts and bullet points and all this stuff. Like, this is just something to guide maybe some things for us to talk about. So we can do that. From the top of my mind, I'll finally get into that. I know I've had you on the edge of your seat forever. I'll finally get into it. I despise what short form content has done for the world around us. If you don't know what I mean by that, let's back up. I use YouTube as the best example. People know YouTube videos. Oh, here's a 15-minute video discussing the, it could be something educational or a travel video or gaming highlights, or really anything. Just something longer than a 30-second clip, right? It's it has some sort of value to you, otherwise you wouldn't be watching it. Whether it's an entertaining escape and you're going through that experience and the highs and the development of that story, and I definitely see more value in that than the latter, the short form content, the 10-15 second clips or 30-second clips, and it is plagued our minds. Okay, some more than others, some aren't on it at all, but this is the exact reason why I'm shifting the content the way I just described. That's the the TikToks. People are just swiping their phone, swipe. They call it doom scrolling. People will get caught scrolling their phone, just watching this clip. That was funny. Next. That's cool. Next. Oh, that's awesome. Next. And they'll get caught in that loop. They'll be laying in bed or sitting on the couch, and then it's 3 a.m, and you've been doing it for hours. And then you'll go on to say, I don't have time to do the things I want to do. You do. You have the time. And I'm not a child. I'm a full-grown adult. But so I can only imagine what it's like. You know, maybe parents out there listening to this right now can tune in and let me know what it's like having a 10-year-old that just scrolls their phone and is addicted and hooked on that TikTok brain rot. Okay? The way these creators make those short videos is to grab your attention, to hook it, to suck you in. And the way these platforms' algorithms, TikToks, YouTubes, Instagram, Facebook Reels, the way this content is pushed to you is designed to keep you watching and keep you scrolling. Literally, the programming in this is to get you addicted. Get you addicted to what? The scrolling? Yes. But what is that? Why do people do that? Why are people addicted to the scrolling? What is happening? Well, I'm no expert. Okay, go do your studies. But what is happening is you're getting an immediate hit. You're getting an immediate fix on your drug, which your drug is that dopamine hit, that little laugh or something funny or feel good, for whatever it is. It's the quickest, easiest way to get that quick hit. Short-term gratification is what is happening, okay? Because it's easy and you immediately get a little bit of a high. Sounds like I'm talking about using street drugs. It's the same concept. It's an addictive substance, right? And there are negative effects to being addicted. So that's an issue with me, right? That's why I'm shifting all of the vertical content. That's why I'm pushing my channels the way I'm pushing my channels, is I don't want to be a contributor in that cycle, because it's a problem. It's a problem. You know, so we're gonna be focusing at least our primary mission a little bit differently. Okay. So what do you do about all that, man? What do you do about that short-term gratification? Why is this happening? Well, why it's happening is because, again, that's the easiest route to do. Example. Would you prefer to lay in bed and just scroll and get that quick fix? Or would you prefer to put the phone down and maybe you got to go outside and start working on the landscaping and these things that aren't comfortable, the things you don't want to do, but you know you need to do them? Do you want to go do that? I mean, probably not. I hate doing this. The chores, the homework, whatever it is. But you got to go do them. And when you go do them, it may not be as good feeling in the moment. You're not getting that fix. But once it's completed and you've checked that thing off the list, that is where the delayed gratification sits versus the short-term immediate gratification of doom scrolling. So that's why people doom scroll. You're getting that quick fix, but it's temporary. And you do that today, you do it tomorrow, then you do it again, and then you're ignoring social outings because it's easier just to lay in bed and hang. Scroll, doom scroll, short form content. Then you don't go do the landscaping outside. Then you don't reorganize the basement. Then you don't do some maintenance elsewhere. I mean, you name the example. And it piles on. It piles on. And then you're just stuck. You're just in the middle of existing. That's the reality of where this stuff goes. That's the reality of where this stuff goes. I mean, I've been victim to the immediate hit. It's easier to scroll or game or do other stuff. I mean, we're all human, right? We're all human. But you have to be able to step back and look at all of this full picture. You have to be able to look at this full picture. If you do the things today that you don't want to do tomorrow you will reap the reward. Do you want the immediate gratification now that's temporary? Or do you delay that and delay it and delay it by doing difficult things, by doing the things you don't want to do and grinding that and waking up early, even though you'd rather stay in bed and have that immediate better feeling? Do the hard things today, all week, all month, more often than not. It doesn't have to be such a regimented, terrible life of slavery to the delayed gratification. But where's the ship getting steered is what you need to ask yourself. Balance yourself, but if you're not heading in the right direction, you are set up for failure. Because in time, next week, next month, next year, in 10 years, you are going to have accomplished so much more. The level of gratification for delaying those efforts is going to be sky high compared to when you just took the easy route tonight, when you take the easy route all week, all month. You're just going to maintain. And if you're not aiming high, you are doing yourself a disservice. If you're not aiming higher from where you are at today. Now, there may be a roller coaster in getting to that higher point. You may have to make sacrifices. You may have to take one step back to take 2 steps forward. But you need to have that mindset in your life to do that. Why did I just share all that? Well, TikTok brain rot is killing that energy. It's making men weak. It's making everybody complacent and comfortable. People don't want to do difficult things. People don't want to spend and invest in the time and difficult things to learn that skill and develop and contribute to the community, because it's easier to be addicted to the short form content. Short form content addiction. Again, I made 5 bullet points here. Everything I just shared was just off my heart. That's truly how I feel, and that should explain why my content's going the directions it is. But let's dive into these points here. Short form content addiction. We're going to explore how TikTok's bite-sized videos create a dopamine-driven feedback loop, hooking users on instant gratification and reducing attention spans. That's basically, we already hit the nail on the head there, right? It's not just the platform of TikTok. However, everyone I've talked to says the algorithm, TikTok's figured out the algorithm. That's what their whole business is on, man, is hooking you on that dopamine loop. All right. It hooks users on the instant gratification. We just went over that. We didn't really talk about this, so it reduces attention spans. I honestly think I could speak on my own experiences here. I've noticed, because there's been chapters where I may be more addicted on that short stuff compared to where I am now or what I used to be. And I would notice my attention span on focusing on a big project or overwhelming goal. After a while, maybe I just want to give up. Yeah, whatever. Let me go back to my phone, right? Let me go back to my phone. Reducing attention spans. Wow. This stuff is heavy when you actually talk about it and think about it, right? You're not thinking about this stuff when you're in the moment. Right? Here's the hard part. If I'm laying down in bed tonight, exhausted after my day, is it time to go to bed and unwind the mind and detox and be ready, prepare for tomorrow's day? Or do we reach for the phone? Man, you're tired. You're comfortable in bed. Let me start scrolling the phone. You have to get out of that loop. You have to get out of that loop. Go put your phone in a different room or something. It's killing your attention span. Number 2, impact on mental health. Let's discuss the effects of constant scrolling on anxiety, focus, and self-esteem, especially in younger audiences exposed to curated, fast-paced content. There's a lot to unpack there. We just talked about the attention span, the focus. When we talked about gaming and dopamine, we definitely talked about anxiety and how these things can increase anxiety in people. There's benefit to things, right? We talked about benefits of gaming and all of this, but too much of anything, I mean, you have to have balance. Creates anxiety in people, man. You're just focused on getting that hit and closing yourself off in this loop of the short form content where you're not exposed outside of your comfort zone nearly as often, if at all, in some cases, and probably a lot of people in a lot of cases. So you're not used to being uncomfortable or in new elements or around new people or having to deal with conflict or issues. So I can understand how anxiety is going to go through the roof when you are presented with this situation, a different situation. How does that affect self-esteem? I mean, if you're anxious because you can't deal with even a mediocre, a moderate problem, you're not going to have confidence in yourself. Your self-esteem is going to be shot, right? At least over time, it's just going to trickle effect down and keep suppressing you down. Especially in younger audiences. I touched on that a few minutes ago. I can't imagine being a 10-year-old and your whole life is just living on the internet of being hooked on this loop of TikToks, and it's a problem, man. It's a problem. And the challenge is young adults like me in their 20s going into their 30s. I mean, these children are going to be your nurses and doctors and first responders when we're in our 50s, 60s, 70s, whatever, that are doing your surgery and taking care of your life-threatening situations if there's an emergency. That's what makes me want to bring acknowledgement to this, and whatever contribution I have in this realm, hopefully it's a positive one in how I push my content. That's the why behind I want to shift up how I do my content. How younger audiences are exposed to the curated, fast-paced content. I just wanted to touch on that again because it's not just the platforms, YouTube and TikTok, that have these algorithms to hook you. It's the actual creator in the piece of content. There is a formula of the hook and keeping retention with their 20-second short video. It's curated, it's fast-paced, and it's not in your interest. It's not in your best interest. Their success is at your demise, right? They get you hooked. They get more retention in their content and their shorts, so they make more money. However, the negative is on you. It's on your life. You're now getting more hooked and addicted on the stuff. It's disgusting when you think about it. But you can find this anywhere. I've always looked at the food industry as a great example. You know, some of the best-selling foods, industries, fast food chains, whatever you want to look at. It's the addictive food, the addictive substances, the sugars, right? It's terrible for your body, but the big companies are just going to keep pushing all these chemicals and additives and sugars into this food to addict you to it because it brings them sales and it's for their profit. But you now suffer these terrible internal biome effects of all these artificial crap and chemicals and sugars you're putting into your body. They don't care. It's hurting you, but they're gaining. It's really disgusting, these systems, man. That's what's tough. Number 3, the cultural shift in content consumption. What does this mean? Examine how the preference for quick, engaging videos is reshaping entertainment, education, and communication, prioritizing speed over depth. Yes, this is exactly what we're talking about, depth, okay? Now content is about speed, immediate, fast-paced, over diving into and bringing more value, right? What I find interesting about this point here is it has reshaped our entertainment, our education system, and how we communicate. Not just the short video, but I mean, even texting is, you know, just quick, this, that. I mean, how often do people sit down and get into a deep, authentic conversation and dive into the why and maybe why they think the way they think and gaining from that. Because it doesn't happen nearly as often as it used to. Excuse me. It doesn't happen as nearly often as it used to. But the most interesting I've found is it has reshaped our entertainment industry and our educational industry. I mean, people are making a full living off of just making TikToks and shorts and reels. But it's not just that short form content. The cultural addiction in consuming short form content has shifted the formula of how TV shows are written and filmed, how movies are written and filmed to keep us hooked and entertained. It's, again, prioritizes the speed in those hits versus the depth of the message. And the biggest of all, our education system. I remember seeing this clip, gosh, I wish I had it in front of me, of this teacher that up on their board is going over the lesson notes, whatever math lesson, whatever the heck it was. And on the other half of the screen, literally in a classroom, they're displaying one of those shorts of Subway Surfer, of just that gaming, short, just the movement and the flashing colors, and just to try to keep these 6th, 7th graders hooked and at least still looking at the board. So he can, it's so disgusting. It's so disgusting. He's trying to use, that teacher is trying to use the norm of our society to try to keep these kids connected. So they hopefully grab the message of what he's trying to teach them. It is plaguing our society again. Number 4. Let's talk about strategies to break this cycle. We can discuss practical ways to counteract the TikTok brain rot, like setting screen time limits, engaging with long form content, or practicing mindfulness to rebuild our focus. I think we all, maybe there's some of you out there that don't consume any of this, which is amazing. But I think we all could use a little bit more of a balance at the least. I'm not saying give it all up, but let's acknowledge it. Whether that's setting a screen time limit. If you're on your phone scrolling past midnight, it's a theoretical time there, but late into the night, you're just hurting yourself for tomorrow. You're just hurting your future self. So set time limits, whether it's like X amount of time per day or at 8 p.m. I'm off my phone, right? You could also break this short form cycle by engaging with long form content. So if all the content you ever consume is just short form content and clips and little short stuff, try diving into a podcast like this or a full film or just a long form video. Maybe your favorite TikTok or YouTube Shorts creator also makes long form videos. Maybe try that and dive into their story that they're sharing with their video and their content and bring value to yourself other than just a short form hit that is temporary. Lastly, you can practice a mindfulness to rebuild your focus. This is huge. When's the last day you took your phone, hit the power button, turned it off entirely, and put it in the drawer the whole day? Have you? Have you ever? And then just were more mindful of yourself, more aware of the things you feel and the sounds you hear and the world around you? Because when your phone and that short form content is sucking your attention and that drive, your focus is gone. You need to rebuild your focus. I'm not saying you need to cancel your phone plan and sell your phone, but even just take the next hour. I want to challenge you with that. After this podcast, take the next hour. Turn that off. Literally hit the power button go set an hour timer on your oven timer, right? And your stove or your microwave, whatever. Phone literally powered off, not airplane mode. Turn it off for an hour after this podcast And then in the comments tomorrow or after that hour, come back to the podcast here and tell me what you did. It doesn't need to be revolutionary, but maybe after a minute of sitting there thinking about it, you don't even have to tell me specifically. Yo, Redbay, I took care of something just a chore that I've been just procrastinating on. Or you know what? I actually decided I put on some fitness shorts, my shoes, and I knocked out 20 push-ups. I did 100 sit-ups. Or maybe you wrote out your plans for tomorrow. You prepped your clothes and your food and plan tomorrow. So then you're set up for success to kick ass tomorrow. I think that's a great way to rebuild focus. Get off that short form cycle. And our last bullet point here before we summarize and we let you get to that hour challenge, the future implications. Let's consider how the short form content trend might influence creativity, learning, and societal attention spans in the long term. You know, I already touched on this, right? These kids that are growing up on this, the iPad kids, right? They're the ones that in 20 years and 30 years are going to be your head doctors doing your open heart surgery. I would hope. I'm just really, really interested how this is going to affect us long term in the decades to come. It's definitely going to influence our creativity as a young society. It's going to influence our learning, how we learn, the methods of learning, and societal attention spans. You know, I'm sure this bleeds over to everything. Just our attention spans in general in society, the patience people have when driving and when you're in a restaurant and ordering food and being in that environment. And how do you balance that? This is just, it's already happened. It's already happening and it will continue to happen. These future implications of the brain rot. It's changing how we interact as a society. And it's going to change how you and I will raise our kids or future kids in the world around us compared to how you and I were raised. Even if you're just a teen now, it's going to continue to change. And I think it's only going to more so affect us. So in summary, that's really what I wanted to dive into. I wanted to discuss what the short form addiction is. Open your eyes to how you are part of that. You're likely addicted yourself because it's just overwhelmed. It's like a plague. It's a virtual mindset coronavirus type thing, right? I'm trying to put this in some caveman terms here. It's just something that's plagued us and just spreads like wildfire. But I really don't think it's at your benefit, the consumer's benefit. I really don't think so. All right. I really don't think so. So we can educate ourselves, which we've done in the last hour here. We've understood what this cycle is a little bit more. And maybe you didn't even realize that you were a victim of this realm because it's so normalized, right? Be different, be weird, right? Get off all that stuff, man. Get off that terrible drug for you. Okay? Let me rephrase that. Get off that terrible addiction for you. Okay? Get off that terrible addiction. Balance it at the least. Set time limits. Engage with other types of content. Be mindful of yourself and the world around you. I think we wrap up with that. Again, one more time, a call to action for you. Take your phone right now. Drop a like on this podcast, right? But after you do that, let's wrap up this episode, ladies and gentlemen. Turn it off for an hour. 1 hour, I'm not asking much. And go get after it in life. With whatever you're trying to attack, set yourself up for success for tomorrow. What will the future you tomorrow be thankful for that you did today in this hour? Is it going to be continuing to scroll your phone for the next hour? Or is it going to be something else? I want you to tell me what it was, either in the comments, either on Twitter, or in my Discord. All those links are on YouTube if you're not a part of them already. I want to thank you guys for supporting this type of content. We have a few other announcements coming to the YouTube channel, not just an update on the streaming and gaming and housing position. If you want to support me in any of my efforts, please just connect with me in social media because we are still grinding to be our best selves. I want to thank you all for, again, supporting this type of content, and we will see you all next week for our next episode. Stay tuned.